So thank you very much. We have seen in our previous presentations, Alessio has made an interesting presentation about food tech, what food tech is, and the investment. And here we have at a glance and some details about how this industry, the newborn industry, has evolved in the latest, let's say, 10 years. We have seen different trends from the beginning. I remember when I started here in this industry, that when I talked to people that I was entering into the food tech industry, the answer usually was food what? And the second answer was, this is the delivery, the things that takes you your pizza at home. So it was kind of synonymous of delivery and food tech. I'm talking about the very beginning, 2015, more or less. But there was also an interest in Agtech. I remember that just a couple of days of years before, there was this huge operation with Monsanto buying Climate Corporation for more than $1 billion. It was kind of the starting point of this industry, and most investors putting their eyes on the Agtech industry. And also, things were happening by then. We had the COP21, and we started to have this 1.5 degrees objective and how technologies could help in this objective. Then we have seen the different phases with his highs and lows, as Alessio has described. We have this rise and fall of the delivery platforms. We have seen also the rise and, let's see, is fallen or not, but obviously interest in alternative proteins. And we have seen also how things that are happening and are disrupting our society somehow, like a couple of wars, COVID pandemic, and so we have seen other situations like the disruption of the supply chains, and how some geographies has started their efforts to relocalize the production means, the food production means, to make it closer to the people. And more recently, we are seeing the interest, a higher interest in health and nutrition as part of the trends of evolution of food tech. So at this moment, maybe some of you, or maybe not that much, because we have heard Alessio on the previous panels, but we start thinking what is food tech. Because we have to think that it's an industry that it was almost only 10 years old, so it is being defined. And that I have the same situation a couple of or 3 years ago, talking with Stefania here, and saying maybe someone has to put some order, or maybe to establish what is food tech, so that the rest of the people can understand about this concept, but also we as people who are in the industry may have a clear idea about that. So Stefania will tell you later what she came with, but the way I tried to do that was writing this book in which I propose this definition. So in my eagerness to be very precise and to cover all the aspects of what I think food tech is, well, I come with these 5 points that for me are important, and are covering not only the what, but also the means, the how, even the where and when, but especially the purpose, because it's important that all these technologies, all the efforts, and we are thinking about business models and new services and products, but at the end of the day, it has, or I think it has to have a purpose that we have to pursue. So obviously, it's a very comprehensive definition, but for the purpose of the analysis we are having here, maybe we can stick to a more simple definition, which is what we have here. and that has a couple of protagonists. It's the concept of software, or I would say technology industry, or IT industry, or digital industry, and life sciences technologies coming massively into the food industry. And what this definition is important, because we are entering into a segment, into a terrain that is completely different of what we were used in the food industry, and we are entering into the software or technology industry and biotech industry, in which the business models and the investment models are quite different. And in order to build our own investment model in the food tech industry, we are taking a couple of things, or a few things from one of the industry and another few things from the biotech industry. We take things about, for example, the margins, the barriers, the IP protection, the scalability, and we are building a new concept that, as I mentioned, is only 10 years old, that is still becoming and conforming themselves. But it has some consequences, and we can see also that the food industry is different from these technology industries in another way, and it's the way that they do, or we as a food industry do innovation. We can see here that the amount of money that the food industry invests in innovation compared to the other two industries is, well, quite different. It's almost non-existent, the investment. Yesterday we were talking with Juan about the ingredient industry, and he was very proud to say that Kerry, as a very innovative company, is investing the 4% of their incomes in investigation, in R&D. So I remember when I worked in Qualcomm, which is a company that made microprocessors, we were also very proud to say that we were investing 15% of our revenues in innovation. So this is the kind of investment that these industries that we are trying to get into our definition are spending in innovation versus what we as a food industry are investing. And yesterday we were also talking that sometimes we feel that we are delegating this investment in the ingredients companies. But what the food industry and the ingredients industry is more keen on doing is buying innovation, is buying the startups that are doing innovation once they have demonstrated that what they have created works. And even Juan commented that they're paying innovation very expensive because of that. So having that in mind, what we have to think, and there is a huge opportunity for startups, for innovators, and also for investors, because there is the opportunity to fill this gap of innovation, investing in technologies that are addressing the challenges that we have been seeing yesterday and today during these sessions. And what are these challenges we have here? We have to talk about we have to create food more sustainably. We have to make it nutritious, because food is not only about calories, it's about nutrition and health. But we also have to do and to create food at a price that people can afford, because usually here in Europe, or maybe States and other countries, we talk a lot about impact, but this is for the 10% of the population. The rest of the other 8 billion people, what they want is food at a price that they can afford. So we cannot do one thing without thinking in the rest of the people. And I have left for the end, not because it's less important, but precisely because it's the most important thing, is the taste, because at the end of the day, food is taste, and if we don't have taste, people is not going to eat the food that we produce. So how we as a Peakbridge, as a fund, manage that when we have to assess the companies. So what we have created is this pentagon in which we identify these 5 goals, and we see that taste is the first for us. When we see a company, we always ask ourselves, is it going to be tasty? Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Then on the left, we can see that we have the price and we have the volume, because at the end, you have to have a business. And to have a business, you have to have the product at a price that people is willing to pay, but also you have to have the volume to make it actually as a business. So with that part, we have the business, but we need to have also the other part, the part that we have to create the food in a sustainable way, but also it has to be nutritious for the people. So I would like to ask you a couple of questions. Thinking with this pentagon, how do you think that intensive farming or the traditional way we have creating food will score in this pentagon? Maybe it's going to be very efficient, creating the volume at a good price, but what about the right side? And the same question about regenerative agriculture. We have talked about this abundantly during these days. Is it enough to create the volume we need to feed the people? So is enough efficient to score in the left part of the pentagon? So that's why I think that maybe technologies and the agri-food technologies is the only way we can try to cope with these 5 problems or challenges at the same time simultaneously. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do you want to pass it on?